At Thanksgiving dinner, my uncle raised his glass and joked that Grandpa's old farm was worth less than the truck it would take to haul away the junk still sitting in the barn. Everyone laughed. I didn't. 11 months later, that same farm sold for $18 million. And not one relative laughing that night got a single cent of it. My name is Hannah Voss. My grandfather, Earl Voss, spent 60 years working 200 acres of flat, unremarkable farmland an hour outside town. When he passed at 86, the family gathered to divide up what little we assumed was left, some rusted equipment, a leaning farmhouse, and dirt that hadn't turned a real profit in over a decade. Honestly, we should just unload it fast, my cousin Brett said at the will reading, flipping through papers like he already owned the place. Nobody wants 200 acres of nothing. Some developer will lowball us, we take it, we split it 8 ways, and we are done. Several relatives nodded along, already mentally spending money that didn't exist yet. I was the only one who hesitated. Grandpa had left me the farm outright, a fact that surprised exactly no one who'd actually spent time with him. I was the grandchild who showed up on weekends, who fixed fences instead of complaining about them, who sat with him on the porch during his last summer while everyone else visited twice a year out of obligation. We should at least get a real appraisal before deciding anything, I said. Brett rolled his eyes. Hannah, it's dirt. You don't need an appraisal to know dirt is worth what dirt is worth. My Aunt Carol chimed in, gentler but no less dismissive. Sweetheart, we just want to help you avoid getting stuck with a burden. That land is a liability, not an asset. I didn't sell. I didn't even list it. I moved into the old farmhouse myself, patched the roof, and kept working what little of the land I could manage alone, mostly out of stubbornness, and a promise I'd made to Grandpa the last time we sat on that porch together. Don't let anyone talk you out of this place too fast, Hannah girl, he'd said. Some things take longer than a season to show what they're really worth. 4 months, nothing happened. The family occasionally brought up selling again, usually at holidays, usually with the same tired jokes about dirt and burdens. Then, on an ordinary Tuesday in April, a black SUV pulled into the driveway, and a man in a very expensive suit introduced himself as a land acquisitions director for a company called Meridian Grove Development. Ms. Voss, he said, shaking my hand a little too firmly. We've been conducting geological and infrastructure surveys across this region for the past year. Your property sits directly along a proposed logistics corridor connecting 2 major highway expansions, and independent mineral surveys have identified a significant limestone and aggregate deposit beneath roughly 60 acres of your land. I asked him, as calmly as I could manage, what any of that actually meant in practical terms. He smiled like he'd been waiting for the question. It means, Ms. Voss, that this 200-acre parcel your family considered worthless is, conservatively, one of the most valuable undeveloped tracts in the county. We'd like to open negotiations at $18 million. I didn't sleep that night, replaying every holiday joke about dirt and burdens on a loop in my head. And the moment word got out, because of course it got out, Brett has never once in his life kept a secret. My phone did not stop ringing. Hannah, obviously the family deserves a share of this, Brett said, skipping any pretense of small talk. Grandpa surely didn't mean to cut everyone else out entirely. That land has been in the family for generations. It should benefit all of us. Aunt Carol echoed him. Within the hour, suddenly finding deep sentimental value in a farm she'd called a liability. 7 months earlier, within 3 weeks, 5 relatives, led by Brett, filed a joint lawsuit challenging the will, arguing undue influence, claiming I'd manipulated an elderly, possibly impaired man into leaving me the entire estate while he was isolated from the rest of the family. It was, I'll admit, the part that hurt most, not the money, but the accusation that the porch conversations, the weekend visits, the fence repairs, had all been some calculated performance. My attorney, a sharp, no-nonsense woman named Rosa Delgado, wasn't worried. They're going to need proof of impairment, Hannah, and proof of isolation. Do you have anything showing the opposite? I did. Years of it. Photographs, text messages, a journal. Grandpa had kept until his final months. Cards from every birthday and holiday I'd spent with him, and, most importantly, a video his longtime doctor had insisted on recording. During the will signing, specifically to preempt exactly this kind of challenge. In the video, Grandpa, sharp and lucid, explained his reasoning directly to the camera. I'm leaving the farm to Hannah, because she's the only one who ever showed up without being asked twice. This isn't about punishing the rest of the family. It's about rewarding the one person who treated this place, and me, like we still mattered. In court, Brett's attorney tried to poke holes in the video's authenticity, then in Grandpa's mental state, then, when both efforts collapsed under the doctor's sworn testimony, simply pivoted to arguing that family land should be family shared regardless of the wills. Specific wording. The judge was unmoved. This court doesn't redistribute valid, sound-minded bequests based on relatives. Regret over a decision they didn't value until it became profitable, she said, dismissing the case in full and ordering the plaintiffs to cover my legal fees. Outside the courthouse, Brett tried one last angle. His voice softer now, almost pleading. Come on, Hannah. We are still family. A couple million split around wouldn't even really hurt you, not with 18 coming in. I thought about the Thanksgiving toast, the eye roll, over the appraisal, the liability comment from Aunt Carol. You had 200 acres, and 60 years of memories offered to you for free. Brett, I said. You called it worthless. I'm not required to pay you for changing your mind. I didn't sell the whole property, in the end. Whatever the family assumed I'd do the moment the check cleared. I sold the 60 acres containing the aggregate deposit to Meridian Grove, kept the farmhouse and the surrounding land intact, and used a portion of the proceeds to fully restore the property, repair every fence, rebuild the barn, and establish a small trust in Grandpa's name that funds agricultural scholarships for kids from families who, like ours once was, don't have much room left to dream past next season. People ask me sometimes if I feel guilty, keeping it all instead of quietly splitting a piece with cousins who technically shared Grandpa's blood, even if they never shared his time. I tell them the truth. Grandpa didn't leave me dirt. He left me proof that showing up, consistently, without an agenda, eventually gets noticed by the people who matter most. Everyone else just laughed at a farm they never once bothered to actually walk.